Good morning. I want to walk through update number 2 to the Torsion Tools ribbon toolbar. I have added some features that I think folks can find very useful. It's primarily around linked documents, and what we want to try to show today is how that we can copy legends, we can copy schedules, and we can also use a couple of tools to be able to use reference views in a linked model in a different model. So if you have multiple models going on, you have them linked together, you're not trying to duplicate details or manually track which details are being used um, or referenced across multiple projects. So why don't we just jump into it here. You can see that we don't have really any legends or any schedules in this project. We do have one empty legend. Um, the way legends copy between projects, you have to have at least a singular legend that exists already in the project. Most projects that have kind of legitimate things going on in them should already have a legend. This one doesn't because it's a really lean test project, so we just have that empty legend there. So what we want to show here is we have a couple of models linked in, the Revit Architecture Basic Sample Project, and then another test project linked. It just has some pretty simple information that we can use to kind of show how this process works. So if we go up here to the My tab, you'll see some of the previous tools that we've talked about, the previous updates. And what we see today, the new, is this Copy Legends, which is actually a split button. It shows you Copy Legends and Copy Schedules. And then Linked Views, which will also show you Linked Views and Update Views. So what we want to do here is under the Copy Legends, we'll start off with that. All you need to do is pick the link you're wanting to pull legends from. So I'm going to pull it from this test project link. You see there's two legends I've just placed in here. So I'm going to click on both of those, hit OK. You can see it tells you that it has copied two legends over. That'll close. So we see those two legends now over here in our project browser. And for instance, if we click on this one, we can see it brings text. It brought over a filled region, line work, different line work, brings the colors associated with them. And this copy test legend, again, is just a text. And you can see it also brings the view, the scale with it as well. So that one's at 1/4 inch, this is at 3 inch, just for some reference piece. So that's a really easy way you can just copy legends between linked projects. The next one we'll look at here is the copy schedules. We copy the schedules, the same process. You pick a link that you want to bring them from. In this case, I've just created a door and a room schedule. And again, I just want to show that we do not have any schedules in this current project. Click OK. Bring both those. I'll tell you to copy two schedules. And now you'll see the expand schedules, door schedule and room schedule. You can get the different pieces here, the fields you can see come over with it. If we'd had formatting, the formatting would come as well. But so that's just a really simple way to copy schedules and legends. I know that obviously either one of those cases you can open a project up, you can select on those elements, you can copy and paste in between projects. For schedules, it's a little bit easier. Legends gets more tricky because you have to go select everything inside the legend and then create a new legend at the same scale, paste everything in. And either one of those will also check. We can, if we just duplicate one of those here real quick, you can see too that if a schedule with the same name exists in the project, it will ask you, hey, do you really want to copy this? And if you hit yes, it actually will go ahead and copy it over, and it'll just be, it'll append, you know, the 1, 2, 3, the typical copy moniker that Revit puts on the end of things. So it will let you bring it over anyways and just append that numerical 1 in this case behind it. So if you hit yes accidentally, it's not like it's going to overwrite anything you've already got in the project, but obviously it does just duplicate what is already there. So there's a check, and that happens for legends and schedules both. This next piece, like I said, I find really useful to use views in other models when you're working in a multi-model situation that you want to be able to use or reuse details without duplication or manually tracking them. So what we can do here is we can say linked views. Again, you just want to pick a model. In this case, I'm going to pick the RAC Basic Sample Project because it actually has views that are in it. So click on that, and what you see here is a list of views Actually, these are really viewports. So any view that's been placed on a sheet, it gives you that as an option to pick from. So in this case, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to pick those two details. I'm going to pick this detail and maybe there's those. And you can see here that you get to see the detail number. You also get to see what sheet it's on, and then you get to see the name, or you'd also get to see the title on sheet. The thing about the sheet number here is pay attention that we only have one sheet over here that's A101. So since these are going to be on sheets that we don't currently have in our model, we have to make sure that we pick a title block that we want to be able to use. And then also if you had multiple view or viewport types, you could pick the viewport type you want to apply to it as well. So either one of those two things, we'll hit OK. What it's going to do is it's going to create those sheets in your set that you didn't currently have. It's going to make sure to name them do not print. Not only does it name them do not print, but it also deselects the appears in sheet list box. And the reason being is we assume if you're using these sheets, these views on different sheets in another model, that you're printing combined sheet fets at the end, and that you don't want this sheet to show up twice in your title block sheet list. So if we jump into this sheet here, what you're going to see is these two views are going to be placed down here on the sheet. And it just says reference view do not print. You can see that it has applied to section 1, which is the only one in this project currently. And then it uses the title block that we picked. This next sheet, the same thing, only you'll see that it puts it up here. So what it actually does is it looks to see where it's at on the sheet, and will actually place the view in the same spot relative to the bottom left corner of the viewport itself, but also the view title that's in the project it's coming from. So if you use different view titles and you have different size title blocks, just keep in mind that it's going to place them based on the information it grabbed from the model it's coming from. And then the other piece of this is the update views. So the piece of this that works pretty nice, that if I were to go and open that other model up, which of course is going to unlink it in this one. Yep, going to say it's going to unlink it, which is fine. Now if I were to go into sheet A4, A104, and 105, the two that we copied information from, now you see these two details are the ones that we copied in on one, but I'll just use this one detail as an example since that sheet's pretty full. The main stair detail, if I take that and I move it down over to here, and I renumber it, say, I'm just going to renumber it 10 for something we can kind of make sure we check. And then even back over here on A104, I'm going to rename this one 12 and this one 00 for reference. Okay, now if we save that project, close it, come back over here, make sure we reload that, because it only looks at loaded projects. So if there is a linked model that is not loaded, either of these tools are going to actually see that link in the project. So now what we can do is we come back up here, open both these sheets simultaneously, window, tile these, and then go here, go to linked views, and if you go to update views, see this one popped. It moved down to here because we adjusted that location in the other project. And then also, if you come and you zoom in on these, we pick these, you'll see that's now detail 12 there, and this one is 00. So it updates the view number, and it also updates its positioning on the sheet relative to those two pieces again. So those are the updates. The primary ones, just copy the legends and schedules, and then being able to use linked views between projects. If we were to delete these views, it does track them based on um, the unique identifier in the other projects. You don't have to worry about element IDs being adjusted in a work sharing situation, but it does track them based on that. So if it has a view and it cannot find that global unique identifier in the link project, it will remove it from the sheet and ask you if you want to eliminate the view from the project as a whole. Just trying to make sure we keep the clutter out if there's views that are being deleted from the linked view. So, and if that's the way to do it. So if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. If not, this is update number 2 to the Torsion Tools ribbon. Thanks.